welcome to the I Hate Social Media podcast, the podcast where we dive deep into the chaotic world of social media marketing with a twist of irony and a dash of humor. So whether you love or hate social media, join us on this journey as we uncover the secrets to making it work for you.
Hey, and welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Micah Derling, with my good friend Mark Lane from Eco York. Welcome, Mark.
Thank you.
How was your trip? It's not, I always want to say up when I think York, and it's not up, it's over more.
Yep, over more.
Yeah, so how was your trip over?
It wasn't too bad. A little bit of construction, but not bad at all.
Okay.
So.
Now, tell us about yourself. Tell us about your company, and where can people find you? So this is, because we always want to have a free sales pitch. By the way, I love socks. Can you see them on camera? They're Chips Ahoy
Chips
socks.
Ahoy socks.
If you're going to, you got to do it. I gotta get a pair of loud socks, like something with pickles. I don't know, just something cool. You know, one of my maybe sriracha. I do sriracha. I should do that. Sriracha socks. But yeah, tell us about yourself and about Eco York.
Yeah, so Eco York is a local software development company. Started the business in 2009. It's actually the second business that I've owned. I've owned 4 over my career. Kind of a little bit of a long-winded story, but 2007 I started a software development company with some partners. Developed some lead generation software for HVAC, sold the business in 2009, and I had worked in about HVAC for about 6 years or so at that point. Decided to start a new business and just develop software for companies to help them develop solutions that save time and money in general. So that's really why I started Eco York.
That is awesome. Would you consider yourself a serial entrepreneur?
I think so at this point.
I don't know what number that happens at. It's got to be 3 or 4. Like once you hit your third or your fourth business, you love being an entrepreneur.
Yeah. I just recently sold my 3rd business to my 4th.
Okay.
So
there you go. No, that makes sense. Sometimes it's better to consolidate. In fact, we do that from time and time again with whether we have our video production company and photography company, and then we also have digitizing that we do now. And it's currently everything's operating as a DBA, but it gets to a point where it might be better tax-wise and everything to break it out on its own, but we'll see. Yeah. And I'll let my accountant figure that out. So now how did you, this is interesting because it's not like you just studied web development and then went into that. You have taken a journey to get here. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so like I said, I owned the HVAC software development company. I sold it. We had a strict contract with another company called Digitizers Systems. And basically that salesman had a contract where any software that we built, he had to be the person that sold it. Okay. So fast forward, I started Eco York in 2009, did a lot of networking for about 2 years. Really didn't make any profit at all. I worked a lot of part-time jobs along the way.
Sure.
2010, met another group of developers and started another company called Compass Wave. Okay. And it was an estimating tool that we developed for residential cleaning companies at the time. Okay. Didn't go anywhere.
They sometimes don't. Yeah.
No. Yeah. So 2012, I bought the product from my partners, rolled it into Eco York, and then really built it up for the past 6-7 years. Into different industries. I started to roll it out in the past 3 years into moving companies, landscaping, and things like that, different service-based industries, but found that it's really hard to penetrate new markets when you don't have the right contacts. And my 2016 rolled around, and unfortunately the owner of Energy Design Systems passed away. And my previous business partners that I sold my other company to wanted out of the business. Okay. So I had the opportunity actually to get the contract to work on the software I already sold. Nice. And about a year later, I bought the business with 2 other business partners. So we own that company now. And then fast forward again, this year, my other business partner in the HVAC said, hey, look at this competitor to Compass Wave. Do you think you could do this for HVAC? And I was like, hey, Compass Wave does this. Would you guys be interested in purchasing it?
Right.
And here we are. So I just sold that in August. So
that's a good story. That's really good.
Yeah.
It just so happens.
So we actually have Energy Design Systems actually has 2 software products right now. Okay. We have one. It's called it's a load calculator for HVAC contractors. So any HVAC contractor that comes into your home, if they want to install a unit or look at your air conditioner, they should know what's called a heating and a cooling load.
Yes.
And our software helps them basically conduct those 2 numbers, put them together in about a 10-minute period. We're one of the fastest pieces of software out there.
That's slick.
And we have over close to 4,000 subscribers using the software right now.
Wow. Okay.
And then we also have a home auditor software, which takes it to the next level.
Okay.
So if a contractor wants to do a home energy audit on your home, they can use our home auditor software to accomplish that.
Okay. That's really cool.
And we have two pieces of software coming out this year in the HVAC industry. We have Pricebook software, which we'll probably be releasing later this year. And then, of course, Compass Wave now is going to be another software that will roll into the next year here. So
now the auditor, I mean, how granular does that get for like an HVAC company?
So they can actually run a lot of testing through it. So it has what's called like a CAS in, CAS out, and different numbers in there. The load calculator is where they put like all the windows and things like that. Okay. So
yes,
but yeah, it can get pretty granular. And the price book, all of our tools are eventually going to tie in together, but right now they're separate pieces. So
yeah, that's a great deal of complexity, but that's exciting.
Yeah.
Now, for people who don't know, there's a big difference between a world of difference between web development and web design. Can you kind of speak to that a little bit? What does a web developer do that a web designer does? And I would, kind of in these terms, at least this is how I've always thought of it. Web design is much more about aesthetics and what your website looks like. Web development is everything else.
Right. Yeah. So a lot of web design companies, they'll be able to work on your Wix website. They'll be able to work on a Squarespace. They'll be able to put your logos together. They'll kind of dress it up a little bit. But when it comes to the back end pieces of the software, so when you're doing e-commerce, for example, there's a lot of web design companies out there that don't really understand e-commerce.
Right.
And they don't understand how to put, if they're working on a WooCommerce website, they don't know how integrations work and things like that. So web development really takes it kind of rolls really into our software development aspect of our business.
Yes.
And the tools that we've developed over the years. So a lot more integrations, a lot more functionality with the website. When it comes to software, I explain it to people like if you look at Facebook, you're uploading photos, you're interacting with it. Right. That's kind of what our software ends up being. A lot of our tools are kind of like a Facebook in a sense.
Right.
It just adds extra functionality. It takes two tools that you might work on separately and have to import, export, that kind of thing. And we can build software that can actually tie it together.
Python, is that, what do you code in?
So we use the LAMP stack, so PHP, MySQL, Postgres.
Yeah.
And we've developed probably about over 15 custom software products over the past, since we've been in business since 2009.
Now, I could be wrong about this, so if I'm talking like outside of my, definitely outside my lane here, okay? When you talk about coding and designing software, even within the sphere of web development, that is unique, right? Not all web developers are necessarily coders. Like a web developer does not necessarily create custom software.
Right. Yep.
Okay. So that is something that is unique to what you guys do that sets you apart from others who might say, yeah, I'm a web developer. And they might be doing a good job in that, but there is a limit if they can't create software. There's a limit to how far that can go. They would have to reach out actually to somebody like you to fill in that gap, whereas you would be a more holistic one-stop shop for solutions.
Yep.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah. Now, as you look over the landscape, right, you've been in this business for a long time. I mean, since 2009. In what ways do you feel like the industry has changed in terms of web development and some of the way websites are used and that sort of thing?
So it's kind of interesting. I think when I started in 2009, I did a lot of custom software in the beginning. And I think I want to say like 2009 to like 2011 or 12, there were a lot of software products that I was rolling out. It helped me kind of jump out of some of my part-time jobs to be able to go full-time into the business just because people were looking at trying to save time, save money, and the amount that we were charging for the custom software fit their budgets at the time.
Yeah.
But I think there was a little bit of a gap between like I want to say like 2014 to like a little bit after COVID actually, where we had like a little bit of a stretch where it was mostly we were focusing on the web development. I was focused on my SaaS products within the business and things like that to grow the company. But there wasn't a lot of custom software being built just because people didn't have the money. They also didn't understand how to integrate different pieces of software and things like that.
Right.
So I think that's kind of a little bit about how it changed.
Yeah, and I think somewhere along the way, there were a lot of software that came out that wasn't robust, but it looked good on paper. So it was fine until you went to use it.
Yeah.
Then it wasn't so great, and you wish you would have gone with the more custom solution.
Yeah.
So yeah, the marketplace has definitely changed that way. With web development? Is what's involved with that as far as like, do you guys ever work on any kind of like SEO stuff, or is that integrated in there somewhere?
So we do offer SEO as a service. So I actually started doing SEO for my company. I want to say like 2017-ish, somewhere around there. And it was about 3 years that I was doing SEO, having the company that I partnered with to do the SEO, and we started ranking really well. I started getting a lot of new business over that time period. Saw a lot of improvement. We revamped kind of what we were having the team do and work on. Yeah. And I just worked really well with the team. So I decided to partner up with them. And I was like, hey, why not offer this as a service? Because it really makes sense. We're building the websites and then they can actually, what's cool about this team is they can build some of our websites too. So when our team here gets a little bit bogged down, I can have their company help out with the website work as well.
Yes.
And they, of course, do it under EcoYork. So,
well, I think you would know how it is. Sometimes you get an influx of business, which you want, but then there's workload and bandwidth. It is awesome to have qualified people that know what they're doing, that you have a relationship with, that you can share some of that workload. But then, when things slow down, it's not like the relationship's still there to do other things.
Right.
That is nice. That's a big deal. Okay. So yeah, well, so SEO has changed a lot. I know, like when I first started in business, I didn't understand what I knew what it was. Like I got that. I didn't know exactly how it worked, but I knew it was important. I don't think I appreciated just how important it actually is. Mm-hmm. When people are looking for your service, they're going to do a search, and there's just an algorithm that's going to try to bring the ones that are in line. I don't know how else to put it, but the ones that are in line the most are going to get towards the top. Yep. And get the best viewership. And that's, at the end of the day, is what you want, because in all of our businesses, you want a shot at the job.
Right.
And if you're not getting the eyeballs, well, then you don't necessarily get your shot. And you might be doing a great job and offering a great service, but at some point, visibility becomes a really big deal. And that's what we're all trying to do. That to me is what really social media is kind of all about, is when you get into like, posting on Facebook or posting on Instagram, you've got to know the rules of the game. If you read any books, there's a guy named Gary Vaynerchuk, pretty smart guy.
Yeah.
And his take on it is simply this: speak the language of the platform. And that's really the name of the game. Be on everything at some point. Start with Facebook, start with Instagram, LinkedIn. If you probably, LinkedIn is a big deal because you want to reach professionals. I'm the same. Yeah. That's a good space to be in it, but it's important that you and I learn how to speak that language, right? And that's, I think SEO gets you in front of people, and then you can worry about speaking the language and all of that stuff.
Yeah, and you really have to focus on both things. So the SEO is one aspect of it, but if your website sucks, you're not gonna, that traffic that's coming to it is not gonna convert. So
no, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. You can't bring them to a garbage box.
Right.
So they'll be disappointed. Then they won't do business with you.
Yeah.
So when you think about when you guys do software stuff and as you integrate these things, do you have to think about mobile at all, or how does that play into what you guys do?
Yeah, so I guess that's one thing that changed really back in early 2000s. You were really building a desktop website or a web-based version, and then you were doing a mobile version. So you created the mobile themes and things like that. Yeah. Now it's kind of changed backwards. Now you're building everything responsive initially for mobile, and then kind of building it back.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So the way that you design things are a little bit different. Everything, of course, has to show up because almost all of your traffic is going to come from your phone. So if your website isn't responsive and doesn't show up right on a certain device, now the new devices are going to be interesting when you get to those the new fold-out Samsungs. Yeah. Those are going to be interesting because I know a lot of web pages are not optimized for that, so that's why they're not as popular. But I know they're coming out with new versions of those types of phones now again, I think Google is actually rolling one out. So it's going to be interesting to see how popular that gets, and then what that's going to change as far as web design.
Right. Yeah, because I mean, you wouldn't think you.
No, because it's not quite a tablet look.
Right.
It's not quite the tablet size. It's a completely different size. So
everything would still be kind of too small to do it like natively, and how it looked. Yeah, for the website. That's interesting. So as you kind of think about, like, if somebody was just starting out, your small business, and you're like, okay, I gotta get a website. What advice would you give to somebody as they think about maybe not necessarily web design, but more like, what tools would you recommend they go to? Should they start with a Wix or a Squarespace, or would it be better for them to say, go to a guy who can get you started with even if it's an inexpensive WordPress? How do you see that?
Yeah, so I guess it really depends what you want to do with the website.
Right.
So if you're an online shopping cart, you have two choices really. Three, I guess, if you consider Wix as a choice there, which it is. Shopify is a good platform. A little bit more expensive. You're also tied into their network of apps and things like that. There's a little less customization that you can do with a Shopify website. WordPress is ultimately where I would suggest you go if you can afford to get there.
Right.
But if you are starting out, Wix isn't a horrible solution to start off with. Not a fan of Squarespace really. And I would definitely not recommend any of the Google related products. So, or the GoDaddy. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
Yeah.
It's pretty horrible, and Squarespace is not great.
It's true. Yeah. Which I think that is a GoDaddy product.
It probably is. I'll bet you're right. I'll bet it is.
I'd have to look that up, but
Wix has a little bit more customization. Compared to if somebody did have a Wix account, right? They have their websites on Wix. Is it possible? Like, do you as a developer, can you still work with that on the back end? If somebody wanted to get more into some like e-commerce solutions, or do they kind of have to go the WordPress direction to get started in that?
So if you're trying to do a lot of custom stuff, it's really hard to do that with a Wix website or a Shopify website, unless you are developing apps for those platforms.
Right.
Now with WordPress, the nice thing about it is you can host it yourself. So obviously you have access to the code.
Right.
So there's a lot more integration and functionality. We could develop something 100% custom integrated with a WordPress website. So single sign-on, all those types of things that might integrate with your business, we can do with a WordPress website that you can't do with some of those other platforms.
That's interesting. Now, do you guys have companies, like, do you have web designers that you like to work with, like that you would point people to? And if not, it's no big deal. I just was curious, like if you guys actually have your hands in that too.
Yes, we have designers on the team or people that we subcontract work out to. So, so we can dress sites up. We've gotten a lot of clients because they go to someone else that's maybe cheaper at the time, and then they're like, this person isn't answering me. And that's one thing that really I pride ourselves on is we're very responsive to our clients and talking with them and getting back to them. There's a lot of fly-by-night web development design companies out there that will build you a website and then they'll disappear. They won't help support after that, and we're not that company. So
that's right. Well, and I would say this: it's the fact that you've been doing. I know it's not all been the same, but the fact that you have been in and around this industry since 2009 speaks well to, like, you're going to be around.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
that's very good. That's a solid point. Like, not just communicating, but there's a longevity that you have that you bring to the table that people should think about twice.
A little bit of a difference too with our company. So I'm a developer, web developer by trade. I have an education from Penn State. Not necessarily in development though. It was in integration work. So that's really where I learned a lot of my working with businesses, seeing how I can make things a little bit more efficient, and then how I can apply technology to it. I actually learned my programming in my internship in college. So,
really?
Yeah, I did an unpaid internship for Crispus Attucks over in York.
Okay.
And a buddy of mine was the IT director there and said, hey, do you want to come and help build some tools and learn some PHP and stuff like that? So that's actually how I learned it. I built receptionist some software to be able to keep track of like visitors and things like that.
That's awesome.
On the web. So that's how I learned it. So now, fast forward, I provided a internship program since 2015 now for local colleges. It's an unpaid internship, but I have different online courses that I provide interns to learn web development, social media marketing, SEO, software. They go through these programs, and I've actually brought on some people from the internship program to our team. So,
that is awesome. Now, so where do they get that? Like, how do they access that? Is it through the?
So once they so it's local colleges like Central Penn State.
Okay.
I've worked with those colleges, Hack as well. So those colleges, the professors there reach out to me, give me their resumes. I bring on about 2 interns a semester.
Cool.
We use Asana for basically where I have all of our online courses and things like that. So and then I use udemy.com.
Yep.
And basically one of our courses for like web development, for example, teaches the person how to basically download WordPress, set up a local instance on their machine, set up e-commerce, launch the website, integrate payment solutions. So by the time they're finished the internship, if they have no WordPress experience at all, they've actually built WordPress websites out of my internship program.
That is cool. That is really cool.
Couple story, like I hired a software developer on my team for about 3.5, 4 years from the internship program. I hired a social media marketer who does social media now for me through the program. And also 2 of the interns that finished last year, I also donate a website each year to a local nonprofit. And they built a website for a local nonprofit this spring after their internship program.
That's awesome. So that is very, very, very cool. Yeah. All right. So Mark, where do you see web development going in the future? Like what is it called? Web not Web 3.0. What is it called? Web 3, Web 2.0? Is it Web 2.0? Maybe. I don't know. But where's the future going? Where is this headed?
Yeah. I think so. I would say that I think that the design changes are gonna change a little bit depending on the devices that people come out with. Mm-hmm. So design. I think people are going to be a little bit more interested in integration and automating things within their company. So automation, building that into the website, whether it's an online chat that has AI built into it, things like that. I think even going through payment solutions. So if they want to sign up, I think people are going to try to get into the software as a service within their companies on different services that they offer and how to integrate that into the website. Yep. CRMs, definitely finding the right CRM, I think, is important. And I think a lot more people are going to start adapting those types of tools that are out there that maybe only the larger companies before had utilized.
I think that's right.
And same with the marketing solutions too. They're going to tie the automated marketing into it. And things like that. So
yeah, I mean, because we're a small company, and we're even starting to have some of that dialogue and those conversations around. Okay, so how do we start integrating some of these things and making sense of all of these separate pieces and kind of bringing them into not one single solution, but at least an integrated solution.
Right.
And that's hard to figure out on your own. So it's nice to have somebody who can walk you through that. So my last question is kind of a question behind the question. What should I have asked you? What did I forget to ask? Like if you were coming in this meeting and thinking he should ask me this, what should I ask you?
Maybe how we met, I guess, or how we
were
connected.
How did we meet? That's good.
Yeah. So it was actually Matt from your team here actually came to one of my local networking groups. That's and right. It's kind of interesting because he came to the group through video, and we haven't really had a lot of video people come to our group. Right. And one of the things that caught my attention initially was, of course, that you guys can convert digital audio from those old videotapes. I forget what the name of the one that we actually use or that we gave you guys to work on.
VHSC or is it the VC? Yeah. Anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was one of the older camcorder tapes, and my grandfather had traveled a lot and taken video his whole life of these different places and amazing. Just amazing travel destinations and things like that. And we've been looking for someone to convert that and to like send it online to a company that I've never met. I was always kind of like, I was a little bit nervous to ever do that.
Yeah.
But when I met Matt, I mean, awesome guy. I trusted you guys and gave it to you, and the footage looks amazing.
That's
so
great. Oh, I'm glad to hear it. No, I am with you on that. In fact, just this week, a guy gave me he and his wife's VHS tape of their wedding. And I'm just looking at this thing going, my word, this is like the only copy on the planet. So you have to deal with that with a lot of with great care. And I'm with you. The idea of shipping it off to who knows where, somebody you've never met in your life, is a little disconcerting. So that's great. I appreciate that. And it was a good way to meet. If you're not part of a networking group, you got to figure that out. One of the best ways to grow and develop your business, it's always going to be through relationships, but you got to figure out where do those relationships come from, and it is things like networking. So if you can be part of a good group that meets regularly, that's organized and structured, it can be a boon to your business. And we were actually just talking about this before we started shooting. It doesn't take a lot to pay for it. Like one good job, and you're covered for the year, and it's worth it. It's worth it. It pays dividends for many, many years to come. So,
sure.
Mark, it's great to have you on. Always a pleasure. We should definitely think about doing this again sometime in the future.
Yeah.
And anything else you want to add?
No, just thanks for having me on, and appreciate the invite for sure.
It was a pleasure. Guys, we're going to catch you next week. Stick with us. We've got more to come, and we'll catch you next time.